What does the Bible say about making investments and money management? That is the subject of this video. Welcome to another episode of the Financial Fast Lane. My name is Martinsen, and it's Christmas time. My wife Tara and I are believers, and we love Christmas. My wife and I have been married for 32 years, almost 33. And we have 5 children, the 3 of which are married, and they have produced 7.5 grandkids. And so Christmas is a big deal at our house. And I was thinking, there are many financial lessons that we learn from the Bible. And so I thought I would share 1 or 2 of those today. So as we read parables, specifically in the New Testament, there are many levels of understanding, or I guess you say many different messages or lessons that can be learned. So in the case of the parable of the talents, a talent was a unit of measurement. It was money. And so a talent was equal to 60 minas, or 3,000 shekels. But it was a sum of money. And so in the parable, you have the master who goes to 3 different servants, and he's going to travel for a long time, and he allocates some of his money. He gives 5 talents to one, he gives 2 talents to another, and he gives 1 talent to another, based upon their ability, is what it says, right? And so he goes away for a long time, and then he comes back. And the one who had 5 talents had invested, he had multiplied or been able to grow those talents to 5 more. So he had doubled the Lord's money, right? And the Lord was very pleased. And so then he goes to the man with 2 talents. He had also been effective in doubling the money. But then he went to the one that had just the 1 talent, and this servant was very afraid of losing the Lord's money, and so he buried it, right? Dug a hole and buried it. He just wanted to protect it, and the Lord was not pleased. Let me turn to the actual chapter and verse here. This is Matthew. I'm reading from the King James Version, so it's going to sound a little bit different depending on the version of the Bible. But in verse 27, the Lord says, "Thou oughtest therefore have to put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury," which is interest, right? So he's saying, I expected my money to grow. You should have used some wisdom. You should have used professionals. But he was too afraid. And so there's some important lessons to be learned here. Doubling your money, it really is not a difficult task when you have time, right? So if you could get a 6% return, your money will double in 12 years. If you could get an 8% return, then your money will double every 9 years. And so when you have time on your side and you have you're wise in your investments, you certainly can experience growth. Now, I know people who are very, very nervous about losing money, and it really prevents them from growing their money over time. Now, you have to be wise, and everyone's situation is unique. Everyone's risk tolerance in circumstances requires a unique investment strategy. The Bible also teaches of the importance of diversification and the wisdom of using 7 to 8 different types of asset classes. We learned that through Solomon and Ecclesiastes. But there are different ways that you can invest very conservatively and still get surprisingly good returns. Nowadays, you can guarantee a portion of your assets while earning getting gains based on the performance of a market index. A lot of people don't understand how that works because they're newer tools and innovation that has happened in just the last few years. And so you can be very conservative and you can still grow your money surprisingly well. I guess investing requires some degree of faith and taking on some risks, but of course you want the appropriate amount, and there's always going to be some risk of loss with somewhere in our lives. When we think about just how risky life is, every single day that we get out of bed, we're taking on some risks, right? Just to get in a car and to drive, you're assuming huge risks. The statistics of fatalities in automobile accidents worldwide is huge. It's like 1.2 million people die every year in automobile accidents. That's more than 3,000 every single day. Think about that. It's a lot of people. Do we stop driving? The consequences of if we all stop driving would be just really not acceptable. We have to be able to move around and get around, but we want to be careful and we want to drive safely and so forth. But there's always risks, and you just don't want fear to hold you back. Losing some money sometimes in investment is part of it. It's part of the process of growing money. There are many valuable and important lessons that we learn from the Bible, not only on finance, of course, but on life. And so one of the key messages for believers is that everything we have is given to us, right? And so there's a lot about charity and about tithe and offerings. Really, everything that we have is really not ours, right? It's given to us as a stewardship. And so when we view our assets and our income and our health and everything that we have as a stewardship that has been given to us, and we are to be faithful stewards, right? We are to grow the Lord's money. We are to increase so that we can help and bless others. So this message is very different from my other videos, but I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear your comments in the comments below, and I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas.